The Nowhere Patrol. Written and created by Mike L. Manders, aka Geekanomicon, issue number 3, Silent Blink. Being an unofficial member of the Watch gave Silent Blink a number of perks. She was not held to a schedule, could take prolonged breaks, and she could, most importantly, move to one of her many safe houses throughout the aspects. Ever since the unexpected guest, in the form of one of the Fates, Blink had wanted to bolt. She had almost stepped through an emergency portal, but then an alert came across one of her screens from the most unlikely of places, Avalon. "Blink!" shouted the voice of Giles Evan. "I need your help. That foolish Professor Russett's experiment was activated after being told it was unsafe. Blink!" Cursing under her breath, Silent darted back to her computer console with her dusty wings, both propelling then slowing her rush. Tapping a current layout of Avalon, the cornerstone of scientific research on Morn, spread across several feeds. One thing stood out immediately. Why is half a mile of Avalon completely blacked out, but still there at the same time? "The Hollow," Professor Evan explained. A cold shiver ran through her. "What use is there in having the vote if fools just going to implement their stupidity behind our backs?" she asked, bringing up a facial image of the professor before bringing up a document with the formulas Professor Rossett had been researching. "These are all still full of flaws, not to mention the Pantheon also told him no. Where is he? Dead." And this also sent a chill through Blink as her wings fluttered behind her. All evidence indicates that outside influences were attempting to sway the good professor, but he refused. One of his eyes and right paw were used to activate what he had completed. "A distraction?" Link asked, thinking back to the events of the Fringe Trail. "I do not like things in different locations happen at the same time. Was anyone caught up in this before the emergency protocols managed to be implemented?" "I know of 2 heroics," Giles said, typing away on his keyboard. 2 images came up. One of the popular parkour wrangler Excelsior Brave, and the other of Shaguma Norami, daughter of 2 founding members of the Walkers of the Storm. I gave them 3 stabilizing rods. They have managed to activate 2. We are working on an option to close down the hollow effect without the 3rd, but it will take time. "And you want me to help with the dimensional computations," she said without waiting for a response. She began pulling up mathematical spreadsheets. Evan had linked up their 2 systems. Her mind raced, but needed to be free of distractions. A few file names in conjunction with those containing the equations popped up. "What are these?" she asked, pulling the files open. Someone was working on some something rather illegal in the very section that has been compromised by the Hollow. People were being used as test subjects. No names, only codes like webs, light, and syrup. How did this go unnoticed by the vote? "Crap," Giles said. "Those code names are pretty bland. One of the members of the vote is either compromised or acting on her own, and I think you know which egomaniac to which I am referring." Loud banging all around Blink stopped the conversation short. "Shaz!" she swore and wiped at the screens, then removing a small portable hard drive from the terminal. She slipped it into a port on her wrist comp while reaching for a Bluetooth which she clipped to her right ear. "Gotta go. Seems that jerk knew you'd reach out and traced. He definitely pushes for that cliche of mad scientist." Darting to the ceiling, Blink snapped her fingers to dim light to just within normal perceptions. Again, the pounding, this time right behind the screen she had been using throughout the past 24 hours. Metal ripped as something reached into the warehouse from the other side. Holding her breath, she waited to ensure the construct would enter. There would be no second chance for her to make an easy exit. 2 metallic claws ripped open a hole wide enough for a mechanized creature to enter. It was very in keeping with Professor Laszlo, and undoubtedly had a very intuitive artificial intelligence behind the glowing eyes. As the apish robot scanned the room, Blink swooped down to the hole it had made, snapping her fingers once more to flood the entire warehouse with blinding light. The trick would scramble the sensors for a brief amount of time, but it was the seconds she needed to activate her rotating cloak field before teleporting across several rooftops. The plan should have been perfect had the robot been alone. "I mapped out your rat perfectly," said a figure housed in strange hodgepodge of gadgets and armor. "For someone that claims to be unpredictable, you certainly... Do you know who owns the building you're standing on?" Blink asked, darting away. Professor Laszlo followed her quickly. His boots had some sort of reflexive jumping boost built into them. She kept him on the roof, dodging away whenever he got close. "If I were you, I'd simply give up now." "My pet is on the way back to me." Laszlo stopped again as a loud roar erupted from below them. He began to smile, but only for an instant, as the head of his construct cushionly landed between him and Blink. "Who dares destroy my pet? Show yourself!" "You know, it takes time to climb stairs and ladders," said a human figure with long flowing brown hair wearing a blacksmith apron. "And you really should know the layout of the land and who might come lend a hand." Before either Blink or the towering human could say anything more, Professor Laszlo pressed a button below the comp on his wrist. He vanished, leaving the remains of his robot to implode in his wake. "Thank you, Arthur," Blink said as the blacksmith sheathed a smoldering sword onto his back. And with that, I will see you all in the near future, and thank you for listening.